Incompetent white men running and holding shit they should not be in charge of.
Girl, and that's why I refuse to run for public office, because you know it's a felony to hit Congress people, right? And the way I would yoke that much. Oh, let me call you back. My 10 o'clock's coming down the hall. Okay, bye. James Comer, thank you so much for coming down. I know you're very busy with your insurrection. I'm sorry, with your insubordination. What is it that you're doing? Impeachment hearings. That's right. You've been at that for what, 3 years now? Still nothing? Yikes. All right, just go ahead and take a seat, James. Let me explain to you why you're here. I am part of an independent government oversight department of public service that was developed to evaluate your ability to lead and govern in Congress. Today, we're going to be taking a small comprehensive look at what the American taxpayers are getting out of a certain demographic of legislators for their money. We're only using factual public data that is available to anyone with internet access. So no gotcha moments for you today, James, okay? Only the ones that your audacity did not prepare you for. Now, after this evaluation, you're going to be able to file you into one of two categories: competent for office or IWM. Now listen, your job is not in danger yet because I'm not the hiring or firing manager for Kentucky District 1. That power only lies with the people who live and vote in that district, right? So your employment doesn't really depend on my assessment, James, but it is my responsibility to inform the public, okay? All right, I pulled up your resume. Let's get started. You have a BS in agriculture, which has nothing to do with writing legislation, right? But it is a worthy education in running farms, which you seem to have done. However, said farms don't exist in the business filings anymore, James. What happened? I mean, they did at one time. You had James Comer Jr. Farms, Comer Family Farms, and Comer Land and Cattle, which you valued as a $3 million asset in 2018, but we don't see them anymore. So what happened? That might be a little discrepancy you got to reconcile with your tax professional before someone submits a FOIA request and opens an investigation on you. I'd suggest that. All right, let's go. You were director of a bank for 12 years with no finance background. That's amazing. I bet that came in handy when you were writing those loans and lines of credit for those farms that don't exist anymore, right? All right. Then at 27, again, with no political nor law background, you were elected to the state legislature, James. Congratulations. You ran unopposed for a decade, but hey, a win's a win, right? White mediocrity, stay winning. All right. Now, in 2015, you ran for governor of Kentucky, James. That was a lofty goal, and you lost that primary by 83 votes. That had to hurt, huh, buddy? Listen, it's like I always say, every single vote counts. Every single one. Am I right, James? All right. Now that brings us to you being elected to federal office, which falls under my purview, because you're not just mooching off the taxpayers of Kentucky anymore. You're mooching off of all Americans. You voted for tax cuts to the wealthy while you've been in office, which has added $1.5 trillion to our national debt. Now, James, tell me something. I thought the Republicans were supposed to be the party of fiscal responsibility. So it seems kind of strange that you guys harp about the national debt, but keep doing unnecessary things to add to it, right? So weird. All right, let's keep going. You also supported No, you supported repealing the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. Yeah. Now, James, remind me again, who pays for your health care? That's right, the American taxpayer. So again, it seems very weird that you would want to take health care away from the people who are paying for yours. Wow. You became chair of the Oversight Committee in January and decided to use everyone's damn tax money on this wild goose chase after the Bidens, and still nothing. 3 years of wasted time and resources. But you know what we did find, James? Your shady business dealings, right? Let's talk about your family for a second, because while you were worried about Joe Biden's brother, it seems that you sold a piece of land to your brother, bought it back 5 months later through a shell company, made your brother $18,000. Then the shell company doubled in valuation while you were on the House Agriculture Committee. I don't know, James, that seems a little conflicty of interesty to me, right? No? Okay. Now, listen, I will say this. Have you ever heard that phrase, a hit dog will holler? No? You're from the South, I thought. So, okay, well, maybe you're familiar with the term projection because the Republicans seem to do that all the time, James. Wow. The second thing we found, James, is the person you said would corroborate all these accusations against the Bidens was a whole ass Russian spy.
A whole ass Russian spy, James.
Isn't that wild? Now listen, Mr. Comer, you and I both are old enough to remember the Rocky IV movies and Crimson Tide. So I just like to know, why the hell are you in bed with the Russians? Are you a treasonous idiot or just a useful one? Huh? I don't know. I'm going to go with the latter because it's just the way you act, James. It's just the way you act. James. Now listen, in my personal opinion, if you would have spent the last 3 years, I don't know, legislating effectively for the people of Kentucky instead of on this wild goose chase after the Bidens, then maybe, just maybe, they'd have a median income of over $50,000 a year, but they don't, James. And 18% of them are below the poverty line. Can they get a job at Comerland and Cattle? And let's look at Kentucky stats. Kentucky overall, 43rd in economy, 45th in fiscal stability, 46th in healthcare, probably because they have legislators trying to take their healthcare away. Now listen, this is out of 50, James, so it means it's way at the bottom of the list. And I know there gotta be somebody at the bottom of the list, but it might not be Kentucky if they had more effective representation in Congress. Now, Jimbo, again, the purpose of this evaluation was just to offer the public a small overview of what you've been up to in Congress. And I gotta tell you, buddy, I think you're fitting the categorization of IWM. I'm so sorry to have to break it to you. Now, listen, when this report is made public, no promises, but good luck in November, right? I mean, if you do lose your job, there is a silver lining. You still, unfortunately, get to live off of my money for the rest of your life because of your pension. However, I no longer have to worry about you making decisions that directly affect my life. So I take it as a win-win, right? I'm going to go ahead and send a summary of this evaluation up to your email right this second. And when it says IWM, babe, please don't take that personally. Again, I don't have the power to fire you. I'm just here to inform the masses. Oh, what's that? What's IWM? I'm glad you asked, James.
Incompetent white men running and boarding shit they should not be in charge of.